a 120Hz refresh rate display, a 108 megapixel camera, and an AMOLED display, all on a phone of just under 300,000 naira. The Redmi Note 14. Let's start with what interests me the most on this device, the display. It's an AMOLED display and it's probably the best AMOLED display on any phone at this price. It's not one of those OLED displays that we usually see at this price point that still look like LCD panels, where you only know they are OLED from the black levels. This one is actually vibrant, the colors pop, most content looks good on it, and it also has a peak brightness of about 1800 nits, so you should be able to easily see your screen outdoors, even under direct sunlight. It's also 1080p, so it's very clear, you won't be able to see any individual pixels on it. The 120Hz refresh rate on this is actually 120Hz, not like what we see on other phones at this price point, where only the settings app runs 120Hz. This one actually runs 120Hz Ultra. It will still use 60Hz to 90Hz in some apps by default, but you can actually go into settings and force 120Hz for those apps. It's not perfect, but this is much better than just not being able to use stable 120Hz in some apps because the company decided you don't need it. It's also important to note that when you set it to 120Hz, it doesn't do any hidden adaptive switch, so it stays at 120Hz at all times. This means the more apps you use at the full 120Hz, the faster your battery drains. So you can choose to use 120Hz on all your apps or choose to use it in specific apps where it actually matters, like Instagram, TikTok, or your news apps. Basically apps you scroll on a lot where the higher refresh rate will actually give a better experience. If you open an app like Netflix, for instance, you don't need 120Hz because you're just going to be watching a movie. And there is no benefit to watching a movie with 120Hz as opposed to 60. The only thing you gain from that is about 2 times more battery drain. Speaking about batteries, this device comes packed with a pretty big 5500 mAh battery. But so far, I've not noticed any difference in performance versus a standard 5000 mAh battery. It still easily lasts me a day with moderate use, and it also charges up quite fast at 33 watts with the charging bit provided in the box. So it's in no way a bad battery experience, but I was expecting a little bit more considering it's a 5500 mAh battery. Speaking of expecting more, these cameras. It has a 20 megapixel selfie camera, a 2 megapixel macro camera, another 2 megapixel depth sensor, and an absolutely insane 108 megapixel sensor. But higher megapixel counts don't translate to better pictures. And the reason is because the higher megapixel is not doing anything other than giving you a clearer raw image. What performs all the magic and makes all the difference is the image processing. Let me show you what I mean. You see, if I put my S23 Ultra and the Note 14 side by side with both cameras at their highest resolution, just looking through the viewfinder, even though the S23 Ultra's main sensor is a whopping 200 megapixels as against 108 on the Note 14, what I'm seeing on the screen doesn't look that far apart. But look what happens when I take the picture. As you can see, the Redmi has given me a result very similar to what I saw in the viewfinder, and the only change I'm seeing is a slight difference in sharpness after processing. But take a look at the same image on the Samsung. It has managed to make almost every single aspect of the photo better. The colors, the textures, the white balance, the contrast, everything just looks better and more true to life after taking the picture due to the processing. Now note that I'm not comparing the Redmi to the Samsung in any way. They are both very different phones for very different people. The Redmi is a budget phone while the Samsung is a flagship. But I just used it to show why most times, if not even all the time, higher megapixel counts don't mean better photos in budget phones. A lot of people buy these phones in hopes of getting flagship grade picture quality. I mean, if megapixel counts meant better pictures, the iPhone has a 48 megapixel sensor and this has a 108 megapixel sensor. So this should completely destroy the iPhone in a camera comparison, but that's obviously never going to happen. Now, I'm not saying the Redmi has a bad camera. What I'm saying is it's just a bit better than others at this price point. So don't rush out to buy this just because of a 108 megapixel sensor. It's still a budget phone and for its price, it takes pretty decent photos. Now let's talk about HyperOS. This is actually the first Redmi phone I'm testing with HyperOS and so far I've been enjoying it. It's a very stable software. My experience with it has been pretty good. I like the animations and the way they let you customize the lock screen. The way they look is quite different from what you see on One UI and some other Android skins. You can clearly see that some of the elements in HyperOS are inspired by iOS, like the way you have to swipe on the right for your quick settings and the left to see your notifications, or even how you can create different presets for your lock screen. But it's definitely not a bad thing. These companies are allowed to learn from each other as long as they do it well or even make it better. And Redmi definitely did this well. Overall, my experience has been very good. I've not really experienced any bugs since I've been using this device, so HyperOS is solid. It's familiar enough to other Android skins that you quickly get accustomed to it, even if you've never used HyperOS. Also, you'll be getting up to 3 years of OS updates and 4 years of security updates. That's actually pretty good. Thumbs up, Xiaomi. Now, let's talk performance. This device is equipped with the Helio G99 from MediaTek. Now, I'm not sure why Xiaomi didn't continue with Snapdragon this year, because last year the Note 13 came with a Snapdragon 685 chipset. But even though they didn't, the G99 has been enough for my day-to-day use. This device rarely lags or stutters while performing normal day-to-day tasks. It can also handle most games like Call of Duty, PUBG and some other titles at medium settings. So the gaming performance is good and you can actually get it for some casual gaming. This phone is IP54 water and dust resistance, which means it can survive splashes of water, but it's also not waterproof. Don't go swimming with it so you don't destroy your phone. This phone has Gorilla Glass 5 protection on the display, the side rails are aluminium and the back panel is plastic. All these are supposed to make the phone harder to get damaged if you accidentally drop it. We just have to rely on the specs for this because I'm definitely not dropping my phone to check. But you should actually be able to find some drop tests on YouTube. Also, Redmi continues to add something I really love, their signature IR blaster. A sensor that allows your device to transmit infrared signals to control home appliances just like a remote control. It really comes in handy and they even have an app for you to find remote controls for several home appliances. It's a really useful thing. Now, is the Note 14 worth the price? For just over 250,000 naira, you get a very beautiful display, good speakers, very good software, good battery life, decent camera performance, and the processor that's good enough for the price. So I would say it definitely is, but if you want higher than average camera performance, I would say up your budget a bit and go for the Note 14 Pro. From what I've seen, the cameras on those are a lot better. But for all other things, as long as you keep your expectations in check, this will be just fine. Well, those are my thoughts and my experience with the Redmi Note 14. So, on to the next.